Hello and welcome back to another video. I'm so glad that you're here. So after posting my first Christina Kaye video, it seems like everyone has a story about her. So I did some more digging, which is honestly not that hard because she makes it very easy. And while a lot of what I found was more of the same types of horror stories, I was certainly riveted by them and I figured you all might be too. But before we get into that, I do want to highlight two comments that I received on my first video. So Life After 40007 said, I kid you not, in 2022, she lost her shit on a planner I was asking about. I didn't reply in seconds of her response, and she bombarded my messages for one, me being jealous of her success, Two, I was incorrect in my question. It was a full-on assault from her for asking a pricing question. Insane. I've logged her in my off-limits area and avoid her to all levels. Soon as I saw your thumbnail, I recognized her. Yeah, I mean, she's got a look about her, that's for sure. We've seen how unhinged she is when people turn her down, but this is simply a potential customer being attacked for simply asking the question. What? The next one is regarding the podcast manager I mentioned in the first video. I will link that part of the video up above with a timestamp in case you have no idea what I'm talking about. But here is what it says. In short, I'm the podcast guy at 40 Minutes. I worked with CK within the bounds set by my employer and, with permission from my employer, took her on as a private client. It was painful, especially when I could see where she was kneecapping herself and didn't want to listen to what I had to say. She did pay me for an initial invoice, but not a second, which I submitted a month late due to oversight. At that point, I let her go as a client and she went somewhere else for her podcast. Then last year, she decided she wanted to come back, and though I tried to help her, she accused me and my employer of scamming her out of money. Ironic. I was as patient as I could be, then lost my cool, having to have my boss step in and take over the conversation. I haven't heard from her since then, but I've been drawn into BookTube recently and was floored to see this video recommended to me. Love when the algorithm does this job. And then to see that my interaction with her was briefly mentioned, whoa, I can only imagine the kind of harm she's done to new authors trying to get started. Thankfully, I didn't take her up on that 30-minute call for my own potential book. I am so glad he got the hell out of there because that would only have gotten worse. So the earliest instant I could find of her being an absolute nutcase is in 2020 when an author named Beatrice Manuel posted a scathing yet honest review of Christina's services on her business Facebook page. She writes, "Note, as a consumer, I have the right to share my experience, and that is what you see in this review. I had not planned to post the emails, but I am forced to do so in order to clear any misconceptions Christina has created in the comments. Her narrative is a one-sided view attacking my character and showing parts of our correspondence out of context. She is also personally attacking me via email and DMs. This is purely factual testimony, further corroborated by the evidence provided that gives the full picture." So clearly she put this little part in the top after posting this and having Christina come back and yell at her. So I had a terrible experience with Christina Kaye from Write Your Best Book and do not recommend using her services. Here's what happened. A. I hired Christina for a $1,000 content edit on the basis of a sample edit she provided me and her agreement to provide a content edit memo in the style of a chapter-by-chapter commentary. The contract also stipulated in detail the key elements that would be covered: character arcs, plot progression, scenes, etc. B. Prior to signing the contract, she asked me for permission to share the manuscript with her junior editor, strictly for training purposes. She explicitly stated that the trainee would not be taking over, but only practicing, and that she would still be in charge. C. She led me to believe that I would be receiving her memo until the very end once I paid the final installment. D. I was just given a one-page memo that was absolutely surface level and did not cover the points stipulated on the contract. There was nothing helpful to direct me except minor comments on the word choice and language used, which is not even the focus of a content edit. I didn't get back the manuscript with comments either, which is an industry standard for edits of this nature. E. This was also not Christina's memo, but the trainees, who Christina later informed me had left the agency and could not be contacted. F. Christina justified that my novel was near perfect content-wise and advised me to move on to line editing, a different service altogether. However, I believe she was just giving me false praise to justify her lack of work. This is further validated by my beta readers who came back to me with immense feedback and constructive criticism. They were not even professional editors, but provided valuable insights in this regard. And yet this is the woman that says beta readers are so 2010s. G, after it was made clear to me that I would not be receiving more and the trainee's memo was final, I asked her to either redo the edit or provide me a refund. She did neither. The experience has pushed me back several months in terms of my publishing plan and was both emotionally and financially stressful. As such, I don't recommend her editorial services to anyone. Now, after this, Christina replied, and Beatrice here made some more edits to kind of say where she's coming from. Please note the following falsities in Christina's narrative. A, I did not receive a line edit. What I paid for, as evidenced in the contract excerpt, was a content edit. I did not receive my edited manuscript for even that. B, the final payment was done before receiving the edit. Christina informed me the edited manuscript and memos were ready. I paid the very next day on June 21st. In fact, I received her edits on June 24th, 3 days after the payment. I did not flip out or refuse to make the final payment. C, the memo I received after my final payment was the trainee's memo. Hence, on June 24th, I asked Christina to send her memo and the edited manuscript as agreed upon. Once she made it clear I would receive neither, I expressed my grievances to her and pointed out all these discrepancies in what she delivered versus what was agreed upon. She refused to rework or refund. D, following this, I sent her an official refund demand letter with a time frame of 30 days to respond. In case of her failure to do so, I categorically informed her that I would share my experience online, including a review. This is not harassment, but my right as a consumer. E, I never once heard from her lawyers. The extent of the communication following the refund demand letter is what you see. And then we have a lot of documents to go through. Okay, so now here we are only seeing the things that Christina said. So on May 14th, these are in order of when they were sent. Chronological order. One thing several of my clients have done, and it seems to work well for them, is to do the content edit first. Why? Because if you think about it, the content edit may be a great way to cut back on your word count, if you feel you need to, because often your content editor, me, will recommend scenes or even chapters that can be removed entirely or shortened for one reason or another. It's cheaper than line editing, and by doing it this way, you can get the meat of your novel in good shape and make any revisions first and then go in and do a thorough line edit after that. Unfortunately, we don't see the back and forth so much. And the next one was on June 5th. As for my editorial style, it will look exactly like what you got in the sample edit. I'll create the memo that flows chapter by chapter. Some may not have comments. And I try to reference page numbers when issues are specific. Whether or not I do any side margin comments depends on whether I see anything small that I want to point out to you. Sometimes I can get by with just the memo, sometimes I do both. Does that help? Seems pretty straightforward. Seems like, to my untrained knowledge, this is how it's supposed to work. Yours I'll do myself since I already talked to you about it, but is it okay with you if I also have one of my editors go through it and make some content notes so I can train them in my way and methods of content editing? It seems as long as she's also doing it herself, it seems, where's the issue if someone else is helping? I don't see one. I just need to train her on the way we edit for clients, our style, our methods, and how we communicate with clients, etc. Within the next few days, you might get a welcome email from her because I want her to walk through the whole process from beginning to end. So if it seems like she's taking over, she's not. LOL. So professional. Just practicing. And so those were the confirmation that she made on the edits that were supposed to be taking place. Here is the contract. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it does say, per the verbal and or written terms previously agreed upon between editor and author, author agrees to pay editor the sum of $1,000 to be paid in 2 payments of $500 each, the first being paid on June 6, 2020, and the final to be paid on or before July 5th, 2020, and prior to the editor turning over edits. That seems to have happened, and in exchange, editor will provide the following services, as discussed by editor and author prior to entering into this binding contract. And yes, down here we can see that it is stipulated content development editing services, including but not limited to yada yada yada. That should have been done by Christina. Now we have another little conversation between Christina and Beatrice, and this was June 20th, starting June 20th of 2020. Beatrice, we're ready with your edits, but I still haven't received your final payment. As soon as you send that over, I'll send over your edited manuscript and content memo. And then Beatrice says, Christina, I've made the payment for the remaining balance. Then 3 days later, she says, hi, Christina, just following up on the content edit memo. I'm happy to receive your input first so I can start work and then receive Heather's later, who I'm assuming is the intern or the editor that's working for her. Let me know when I can expect to receive them. Best, Beatrice. Christina, I'm sending both today. So this is, in the lead up. Now, next, she shows us a document that is all kinds of editorial notes. And then in the margins, we have notes from Christina. So basically, my understanding is that the trainee's notes and then Christina just being like, yeah, cool, got it, which is not what was agreed to, as we saw earlier with the contract. And here is the rest of their email correspondence. So Christina says, Beatrice, I don't normally do a separate document from other editors. I read through the book and then look at their memo and make comments if I agree or disagree. Your content editing memo is attached. Let me know when you think you'll be ready for line edit so I can get it on the schedule. That was June 24th. On June 25th, Beatrice says, hi, Christina. Thank you for the memo. Trainee, insights are helpful. I'll be sure to incorporate them into my final rewrite. We'll circle back with further questions, if any. Ideally, I'll be looking to complete my changes to the final draft by mid-August. I can only confirm the final timeline for the line edit once I receive your memo too. However, depending on the feedback you have. There's no rush sending it over, by the way, but it would be great if I could get it by June 30th latest. Thanks and hope you're well. And then Christina says, Beatrice, as I said in the previous email, I don't send a separate memo. I go through trainee and any other editor's memos and add comments or changes if need be. In this case, I agree with everything trainee said and had nothing to add. Then we have a very official looking document that was sent to Christina that says, Consumer demand for refund. Dear Christina Kaye, this letter is written pursuant to the contract dated June 9th, 2020 between you, Christina Kaye, the editor of Write Your Best Book, the company, and I, Beatrice Manuel, the author. This letter serves as a formal request to the editor for a refund of $1,000, the total amount paid to the company for the failure to provide unsatisfactory completion, I feel like that should say whatever, of the content developmental editing service provided on June 24th, 2020. And Christina says, I will forward this to my attorney. Please do not contact me again. And then 2 days later, on July 9th, she says, I've spoken with my attorney and he's drafting you a letter. But I wanted to tell you that he's advised me that your threats are basically ridiculous since you're not in America. And even if you wanted to retain legal counsel in Richmond, Kentucky, you're looking at a minimum of $1,000 in legal fees, not to mention court costs, etc. Then you have to consider the fact that you signed a binding contract and Write Your Best Book performed the services contracted for in that document. You have no legal leg to stand on, and you have no legal recourse, so you're just wasting your time and your money for no good reason. To that end, good luck. You should receive your official cease and desist letter in the next day or so. But until then, I'm considering this matter closed. Best of luck to you. Well, Christina, I don't think you have any legal leg to stand on because she didn't provide the services that were contracted. And additionally, she would, if she loses, a lot of times they put in there that she would have to pay the legal fees anyways. So, whatever. And then on August 3rd, Beatrice says to her, Dear Christina, this is a courtesy reminder that the 30-day period mentioned in the original refund demand letter will lapse 3 days from today. As I have not heard from you or your attorney, I would like to draw to your attention that if I do not receive an official response by August 6, 2020, I will pursue the actions outlined in my previous letter. And Christina says, go for it. That sounds like someone who doesn't have a lawyer, but okay. And here we've got Christina just being the absolute professional woman of the world she is. Cease and desist. Beatrice. I know you are frustrated because your attempts to scam me out of money and to discredit my reputation and business has failed at every turn. But if you do not stop contacting me, that message to the website admin went directly to me. Who do you think the admin is? Question mark, question mark, question mark. What kind of editor doesn't even use proper grammar in her cease and desist notice that she's trying to get us to take seriously? Okay. I will have my attorneys reach out to you. Okay, like you said they would before. Okay. Monday morning, and we will file a formal complaint against you in the U.S. District Court. Yes, I have my ways. We can all do that. We can all do that. You may not have found the resources to file against me, but you've crossed the line with your libelous reviews and posts, and I do have the resources available to me to stop you. I just feel bad for her almost. I don't, but Like, she is so talking out of her ass. She literally has posted this evidence online. Like, there's no... It's been almost 4 months. Get the fuck over it. I'm sure her lawyer would love to see, you know, her using that kind of language in what's supposed to be professional correspondence. This is your last warning. I don't care where you live. This will end now. Be a grown-up. Put on your big girl panties and accept the fact that you paid for reduced rate services and got everything you paid for and then some. Why is she always giving everything away at a reduced rate? We even told you how great your book was and that it was very well written, hence only 1 page of content edits. Only on the memo, there were plenty in the manuscript. You're a spoiled princess who threw a fit and it didn't work to your advantage. So you have taken to social media to try and get sympathy, but honey, you have 5 friends on Facebook. I have over 100,000 social media friends and followers. Some of the biggest names in the industry are in my corner. You have not been active since 2014. I've been a trusted member of this community for 10 years. Who do you think people are going to believe? Well, I mean, I wouldn't... Continuing, sorry. Figured. I've reported all your posts, your comments, your reviews. To who? And I will continue to shut you down at every turn. Quit being a sore loser and grow the fuck up. And do not reach out to me or anyone or any part of my business again. If I see any further posts, I have a Google alert set up with my name or my business name, or especially showing parts of my private business documents online. I will be forced to take action, and you don't want that, trust me. Leave me alone, go cry in a corner somewhere, no one cares, bye. I mean, like, I'm not shocked just because of what we have already seen from her, but I am sort of shocked that this is a real person. And then we've got more, like, text message from her. I don't know exactly where these fall. Like, they might just be examples because, you know, it says yesterday, so I don't know when that was. But we do have a copy of text messages where Christina said, "You're a psycho bitch. I've got my attorney working on this. But we've removed the reviews already. Do not mention me or my business again. You totally lied. You got what you paid for. I have responded to all your lying posts with pictures of our conversations to show people the truth. If you post one more time about me in any other group or anywhere online, I will sue your ass immediately. Cease and desist. This is your only warning." Her yelling cease and desist is giving me big, like, I declare bankruptcy energy.
I declare bankruptcy!
That's so embarrassing for her. Like, how does she not see how insane this is? It's honestly mind-boggling. I also can't believe how often she threatens legal action and then never follows through with it, which is why I'm not at all scared she's gonna try to come sue me, because she can try. I doubt if she even has a lawyer on retainer, and any lawyer would tell her she has no leg to stand on in any of this anyways. The comments did not disappoint, though, so let's take a look. Heather L. Whitehead says, as the trainee referred to above, and in concert with the information presented by Beatrice and Manuel, I can attest that I went through this manuscript only once, that Christina did not go through it, and that only a content edit was done. I was told the line edit would be done at a later date. Further, Christina asks, why is this coming up now, referring to the fact this edit was done almost 3 months ago. It is coming up now because Christina has also tried to defraud another author in a similar manner, ultimately refusing to answer concerns over accuracy. I was the editor for that manuscript as well. I certainly hope she has left and does not work there anymore. Should Christina see these comments, she will likely respond by saying, among other things, that I'm a disgruntled employee and that I was fired for stealing a client. It is true that I was fired, but it was not for stealing this other author as a client. It was because I chose to listen to this other author's claims that she'd been promised more than what she'd received, and because I refused to stop working with this author to finish the edits she'd been promised. After I was fired, I reached out to Beatrice to ask her side of what happened. Christina had told me Beatrice was unsatisfied, but said it wasn't my fault, so I had never needed to verify that, until now. Like Beatrice, I can provide proof, via unedited and uncropped screenshots, to prove what I have to say. I challenge Christina to do the same. A couple people responded in support of her, but then Christina comes along to respond as well. Thanks for sharing this, so I can turn it over to my attorneys to pursue a libel suit against you. Very helpful. And then it looks like 40 weeks later, someone says, Book Boss Academy, haha, 40 weeks later, how did that go for you? Also, not a good look to publicly threaten lawsuits on a review for your business. Yeesh, or was your account hacked here too? I don't know about that, but sounds like we can figure out, what happened. Christina responds to that by saying, you're right, I didn't pursue it last year when I should have, but Kristen Turner Esquire What a weird way to put that in a sentence. Has officially been retained as of 1 week ago, and the wheels are in motion. You can doubt all you want, Coda, but once you get your paperwork in the next week or so, you won't be so glib. Haven't you gotten tired yet of thinking about me all the time? Because I never put this much thought into you at all. Good lord. The only time I do is similar to when a gnat gets into your room and it flies around for a bit and annoys you. But you know what always happens to those tiny little gnats? Their moment of fun ends rather quickly and within minutes. No one even remembers they were there in the first place. This woman is a writer, apparently. So keep having your fun. You're not causing the damage you think you are. The proof is in the pudding. Year 4 in full-time business and better than ever. So I lost a couple dozen of your followers because they chose to listen to one side of the story, and to me that's fine. No loss whatsoever. What's most important to me is living in the truth and remaining positive while you guys have your nasty little hate campaign and witch hunt. For now. I don't know why I keep doing this. Like, I turn into this, like, dramatic reading. And for the record, I not only never did a thing to you and treated you like family because of, not in spite of, who you are or were as a person, but I also reached out to you more than once with an olive branch, trying to smooth things over with you, apologize if you misunderstood my email's intent and that one sentence you misconstrued, and try to put an end to all this. But you're the one who keeps this ball rolling, not me. And you can keep doing it, for now, if that is really the only true excitement and pleasure you get in life, and if you have nothing better to do with your time. Me, I'm going to keep doing me, staying positive, not fighting with you or anyone, and continuing to grow my business, which has not been impacted in any way either of the times you've brought this hate campaign on, especially not in the way that matters. I will continue to pray for you, Coda. I pray one day you will be comfortable enough in who you are and happy enough in your own life that you don't feel so obsessed with every move I make and spend so much of your time pointlessly trying to destroy me. I pray for the gift of discernment so you can one day look at the mess you've made and time you've wasted, all based on lies you spun because you misinterpreted one sentence in a 7-page email, which never had a thing to do with what you claim it did. That you can see that you've wasted time and effort being so negative and hateful and spiteful for over 2 years now, rather than focusing on yourself and improving your own life and becoming truly happy. That sentence was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 lines long. I don't feel that even if she wasn't a scammer, that I would ever recommend her for an editor, because she just really doesn't seem like she would be good at it. I do wish that for you, despite it all, because you and I both know you were not just a very satisfied, successful client of mine and a long-term member of my team. You were, for a time, my friend. And you cannot sit there and say I didn't support you, listen to you, and try to be as compassionate and understanding about you and your world as humanly possible. You know that's true. So I'm sorry you're so filled with hate and that it's all based on lies and basically nothing that really happened. But please know, any person who has joined you in your witch hunt, no pun intended, I don't get it, is no loss to me. Not only were they never truly anyone I knew, let alone cared about, but I don't need or want people in my life, business or otherwise, who follow like lost little blind sheep and decide to immediately hate a complete stranger to the point of sending death threats to that person. This is the first we've heard about death threats. I don't care if it's 100 or 100,000. There are 9 billion people in this world, and I only want to associate, work with, support, and be near those who are intelligent, discerning, and decent enough to ask questions first, make up their own minds, or better yet, stay the hell out of what doesn't even concern them. So lawsuit or not, and yes, Kristen is working on it as we speak, I'll attach her contact info to this message in case you want to talk to her. Keep doing what you're doing or don't. I don't care either way. You've cost me nothing of import or true value, and you never will. Having her contact info here literally means nothing, and for all we know, Kristen Turner would have something to say if she knew that her name was being associated with nonsense like this. Even if she does happen to be Christina's attorney, and again, like, someone else needs to be an editor for her Facebook comments, because she said 60% garbage. I mean, all of it was garbage, but 60% of it was just rehashing the same things over and over. Okay, so moving on, I came across this video posted by an author named Nanette Williams. and her story takes place in 2021. She hired Christina to work with her, sent her manuscript, and I'm not quite sure on the timeline between her sending it and then this email that I'm about to read for you. It seems to have been a not insignificant amount of time. Christina writes, Nanette, I am writing to tell you that I finally had some time to sit down and go through the first several pages of your manuscript you sent me. And because of what I read there, I am sorry, but I'm not going to be able to help you move forward as your coach at this time. I will absolutely be here in the future when you are more ready to publish, but honestly, you're not there yet, and I don't want to waste either of our time when the truth is, based on what I just read, you have a lot more learning and practice to accomplish before you can be anywhere near ready to publish. You'd think that would be a coach's job. I'm sorry that I had not had the time to go through these pages before now. But you should know I'm also pulling back on my author coaching, at least for the summer anyway. I was willing to keep you and a couple other clients, but I just can't afford the time right now to start from scratch with an author and teach them everything from the beginning. So insulting. I was under the impression you were further along with your writing craft, and that's entirely my fault. But before you can be ready to work with a coach, let alone publish your stories, you really need to spend some more time studying the craft of novel writing, and pay particular attention to the formation and development of a story, as well as the technical craft, including sentence clarity and word choice. To be honest, I was confused the entire time I was trying to read, and after one page I had to stop. So pretty much she read one page of this book and decided Nanette sucks. Cool. Mainly, I didn't know what you were trying to say. It was an odd way to structure your sentences, and if I can't make heads or tails of it, the reader won't be able to either, and they'll set it down and move on out of frustration. I'm very sorry about this, but feel free to come back in a year or so after you've taken some writing courses, studied some how-to books, and done more practice writing. In the meantime, I did go ahead and make a few notes for you from what I could figure out what I was trying to read. I wish you the best, Christina. That's so fucked. I am real mad about that. So here is a video of Nanette's story from her own point of view.
Hi, this is Nanette, and I want to share an experience that I've had recently. I'm going to be looking off to the side, so I'm looking at my notes, and I just want to share this with you. I've written 7 books, and I decided I want to publish them, so I'm in the publishing process, but I also decided I wanted to write a cozy mystery. And with me writing this cozy mystery, I wanted to stretch myself as an author and to grow and to get better. And I decided to hire a writing coach because I want to make sure everything's on par. And so I found a writing coach that I found on TikTok. She actually is on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and she has a podcast. And her first name is Christina. Her last name is between the letters J and L, and I think she's Danny's daughter. Her company name is something like How to Help You Write Your Best Books. And so we agreed, some emails back and forth that we would meet on Zoom last Friday. I sent her some pages, and so we got on together at 2:00. I asked her about my writing because I wanted to make sure that it was, going to be something that she could work with. She said, it's great. I love it. She could help me develop my plot. And so I decided, okay, just based on just the vibes and what I felt completely comfortable with her. I signed a contract with her in good faith. I sent her $2,500 for 10 coaching sessions. And then on Sunday at 11:30 p.m., she said she had sent me an email saying that she had gone over the few pages that I sent, and it didn't make any sense to her. She couldn't get past the first page. It wasn't up to par. It didn't make any sense, and she couldn't work with me. And I need to take some classes and read about how to, structure my novel. And I kept thinking, what happened between Friday and Sunday? And the only thing I can see is I signed a contract and I sent her all $2,500 at once. So I did send her an email to ask her or two, like, hey, what does this mean? I mean, because everything was fine Friday, and then suddenly on Sunday, it wasn't fine. So I do know it's always buyers beware, and I have to admit I foolishly gave Christina my money, and she's refusing to give me a refund. I did ask for her in email, can I have a refund? And she proceeded to send me a video where she's ranting and raging against me about how horrible I am, and it's just unbelievable. So I'm going to post that video. Now, I know you're asking yourself, why are you sharing this with us? Well, let me tell you the reason why. I'm sharing this with you. One, Christina scammed me out of $2,500. And that was because I didn't do my due diligence. If I had dug deeper, I probably would have found some negative comments about her online, and I wouldn't have lost $2,500. She is a liar and a thief and a scammer and a con artist. And I don't want people to trust her. I want you to do your due diligence. I didn't do that. Two, this woman not only she is a con artist and a scammer. On Facebook, she says she's got an office in North Carolina. In LinkedIn, she says she's got one in Kentucky. So I am consulting an attorney for legal options. I know I haven't done anything wrong, so I know I'm not going to jail anytime soon for anything. But you can't always say that about other people. And so I want to say, when she sent me the ranting video, it could have really destroyed me emotionally. But because this past year I've made some changes with my with my personal developments, I worked on my mind. I lost 55 pounds with my weight, and then I just had massive surgery back on the 7th. I had a hysterectomy, and thank you God, thank you Lord, I am cancer free. So. Otherwise, I would listen to this con artist and been emotionally destroyed, so distraught I wouldn't have pursued this. But I am going to pursue this legally as much as I can. Will I get my money back? I don't know. But am I going to try? Oh, you bet. So I am going to post the video. She does say a couple of, she sent these emails to me. I have no idea what she's talking about, but you'll get to see her up close and in person, okay? And remember, don't just trust anybody like I did on social media. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter. She's got like 1 million followers on TikTok. It doesn't matter how many followers you have. You need to do your due diligence, whether they're selling lip gloss to giving you some kind of author service. Okay? All right. Be blessed.
And isn't that absolutely wild? And it gets better because next she's going to show us how Christina reacted to Nanette trying to cut ties and get refunded.
Okay, I am going to show a video from my editor, who's no longer my editor. So here we go.
Hey Nanette, I'm sending you this voice memo or this video memo because I'm not in the office. I had some blood work done today. And Melinda just told me that the email I sent you just about an hour or so ago was responded to with a threat of legal action. And supposedly you already hired an attorney pretty fast. And I don't understand it, but let me just tell you a couple quick things. And you can record this and you can save it for whatever you want. But I wanted to emphasize a couple points. I save everything. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I also had a 22-year career until last year. I was working in the legal field. I was a trial paralegal for 22 years. And I specialized in lawsuits. So, here's some things I know. I know that unless he's your cousin, brother, friend, there's no way you've already retained an attorney to work for this, because attorneys don't just take theoretical cases. There's nothing to file. And also, it would cost you several $1,000s to hire an attorney. And also, the likelihood of you getting in with an attorney, unless he's your cousin, brother, friend, an hour after I sent that email is highly unlikely. However, in the event that that is true, because things happen, I just wanted to emphasize to you that my email to you was very nice. My email to you was responding, even though you were very, very bossy with me and very demanding of my time by sending 3 emails back to back and not even giving me 24 hours to respond, I was still very nice back to you. And beyond being nice, I told you several times, probably for the 4th time, I was not, nor have I ever terminated our coaching or any kind of relationship. I simply said I can't coach you right now. In fact, I also emphasized several times, many times, you have money in the bank with me. I am not taking your money. I don't do that. And I resent the implication because I don't do that. In fact, I said several times, we can transfer that money, that balance, to almost anything. And I will help you. All I asked of you, Nanette, was 1 week or so, maybe 2, to get through what I'm going through right now. Because, you know, I'm a person. We all have lives. And then we would talk about how to move forward. I also want to put it on the record and remind you that I sent you a list of a link with about 20 helpful documents to tide you over until that happens. So here's the bottom line. You have no basis for a lawsuit, so I'm not threatened. That never, just so you know, that tactic does not work with me because I have so much legal knowledge, and I did it for a living for 22 years. So that doesn't threaten me, it doesn't intimidate me, it doesn't concern me, it doesn't worry me or anything, so don't bother with that one. But if you do decide that you want to try some kind of lawsuit or hire an attorney, here's some things you should know. You signed a contract, and I signed a contract. And the terms of that contract clearly state in all bold capital letters on the second page, near the bottom, it says, I do not issue refunds for any reason at all, under any circumstances, unless I so choose. And that's my legal right. It also says that I have the right to terminate our relationship for the above list of reasons, and that includes many different reasons. And so you don't have a legal leg to stand on. That's why I don't believe you, nor am I threatened by your comment about getting an attorney. See, I'm just not concerned about it. You have no legal leg to stand on. Any attorney would laugh you out of his office and say, oh, you signed a contract? You're screwed. That being said, here's what I want you to know finally. I was every single bit willing to make sure that you got every penny value out of what you paid me, because that was never my intention, ever, to just take your money and run. And I don't do that, and I would never do that. However, although I offered you 2 or 3 times in a row to tell you that you've got money in the bank with me, I will extend services, you're going to get your money's worth, all that stuff, I am hereby terminating our relationship because you cannot behave calmly, respectfully, professionally, and now you're resorting to threats of lawsuits when I've done nothing but be helpful to you. So you screwed the pooch there. However, I again have my reputation to worry about, and I don't want even someone who's really pissed me off now, I still care about you, and I don't want you to feel ripped off. I will find a way, as I promised in my last email, to make sure that you get some value for what you paid. A good big value. I'm not just going to send you those links and say that's good. It's not. I will send you a course. I'll give you resources. I'll do whatever. But I am hereby terminating our relationship. We will not be working together formally anymore. And quite frankly, please stop contacting me. I will reach out to you when I figure out how I can compensate you, but you will not receive a cash refund. You signed a contract to that nature. You screwed the pooch today by being mean. I was going to say another word, but you screwed the pooch by being rude to me for no reason when I was just trying to help you. So maybe in the future you try not doing that. Try looking at the terms of your contract before you sign it, and then try being nice to people and don't bite the hand that feeds you. Bye.
Okay. And I think we know. There you go.
Now, if you are listening only, 2 things to note during this video. She is driving during this entire thing on what seems to be an interstate. I feel like people do this all the time and I don't get it. Just wait until you are home or you're apart somewhere. Secondly, Nanette has her iPad playing in the video and is recording the screen on her phone, and in the middle of it, a pop-up appears at the top of the screen saying scam likely with a phone number. I feel like we've all gotten those, and I lost it. That could not have been more perfectly timed. So both of those videos were posted on June 24th, 2021, and the next thing we see from Nanette is on July 6th, where she posts the following. Buyers Beware Part 2. And the saga continues. I filed a fraud claim with my credit card company. I received a refund to my MasterCard for the $2,500. Christina, the professional, sent me the letter below as a response. The lesson I learned is that I have to do my due diligence when I'm selecting someone to work with me. But more importantly, if I knew for sure which state she lives in, I would call and ask for a wellness check. This is a clip of what she said. Don't get too confident, happy, or full of yourself just because you filed a chargeback. LOL. My attorneys just filed an appeal with all the documentation that you already were a liar, but that now you are a scam artist. And my invoice processor assures me that this matter will be settled in a few days and I'll get the money back into my accounts once they file the appeal for my attorneys. That said, I'll have the money back in 5 days because even though they agree that you are not entitled to a refund or chargeback, it will take a few days to get the money back from you. Just wanted to let you know, you didn't win. You never will. Not against me and my lawyers. I don't go down without a fight. Actually, I don't go down ever. So nice try. Enjoy that money for a few days while you can. And while I laugh all the way to the bank to get my money back. I have like secondhand embarrassment reading the things she says. Like, she is just like, I'm just embarrassed for her. Because like, she's so cringe. All right, now, you've probably figured out that I'm a pretty big fan of Reddit, and I was able to dig up a story over there by one of her former employees on a post by someone looking for information on Christina. I'm 2 years late to the party, but I did work for her on the editing side way back when she was first starting out her business. Ended up cutting it off because she was being dishonest with her clients, telling them she was doing the work, but she was subcontracting it out to other editors to do instead, and then paying the subcontractors to do a lower level of work and passing it off as her doing it, and that it was a high level of work. Shocker. So for example, as one of the scenarios I ran into with her was that she had someone who had hired her to content edit their book. They specifically hired for her to do it, specifically requested her to do the work. She agreed, decided she didn't have time to do it, and then sent it to me and asked me to do a copy edit on the book. So I do a copy edit, send it back, and then the shit hit the fan because she got pissed that I, 1, didn't do a content edit, 2, didn't provide the content memo, and 3, didn't change the settings in my computer on Word to make it look as if she did the edits on the book. When you open the review pane, it said my name instead of hers. She just went off on me about it and was inventing entire conversations we never had out of whole cloth. It was wild. And I was doing this whole thing as a favor anyway because the pay was shit. $250 to copy edit a book that was over 100,000 words is insane. And I was trying to help someone who I thought was an editor acquaintance with her business as she was just starting out, and I was in the process of launching my own full-time business too. I haven't spoken to her since, but a couple of years ago she emailed me inquiring if I would be interested in working with her as an editor. Did the whole sales pitch type email, and apparently has completely forgotten that we had a falling out over her attitude 3 years prior to that when I called her out on her shady business practices and her business ethics. Needless to say, I didn't respond. This was posted on that same Reddit thread as the posts that I read in video 1, so I'm glad that this whole thing is still getting traction over there because that initial thread I think was posted at least a year ago, and this was only posted 23 days ago. Well, a couple more now from when I screenshotted it. So the next segment of this video is literally just examples of her being absolutely delusional in her posts. So here is something that she posted in April of 2023. So first we have this nice little stop sign hand. If you're in the same line of business I'm in, you're following me or my business account, Book Boss Academy, and you're doing so with the sole intention of watching my content for information you can steal and use in your own editing or coaching business, know that I'm more on alert than ever before to this recent trend. She loves to flatter herself. And you know what's, I gotta interject really quick. Something that I find a very big difference between our other favorite scammer, Britt Andrews, is that I think that Britt Andrews, she knows what she's doing. I feel like Christina is actually just living on a separate planet from the rest of us, where she actually thinks that, A, she's incredible at her job, and everybody wants to hire her, and B, that everyone's out to get her and steal her stuff, and, I just think she's absolutely off her rocker. And that's my opinion, and so da-da-da-da-da. In the past week alone, I've caught no less than 4 editors and coaches posting content on their feeds that sounded eerily familiar to mine, or that seemed to come out a day or so right after mine, and was on the exact same topic and the exact same information, only slightly reworded, only to find they'd recently liked that same content on my page. I feel like, I mean, at least in the world of, like, content creation, there's no original ideas. I imagine it's quite the same. You have to be creative. You can't get mad at people for doing the same stuff you are. Sure, if something is extremely unique and, you have it copyrighted, then that's another story. But she's literally just talking about editing advice. And that doesn't make any sense. At all. At all. Coinky Dink? I think not. In the past, I've even caught so-called editors in my TikTok lives trolling and lurking, and some even asking questions that clearly were designed not to help my viewers and followers, but to steal my content and piggyback off my experience. Where are the receipts, girl? Here's the thing. I'm not the only editor or coach in this industry, by far. Okay, so there are tons of editors with as much or more experience as me. When it comes to coaches, there are fewer, but they do exist, and most of them are reputable and have the honest and noble intent of nothing more than supporting authors, same as me. LOL. But sadly, there are a handful of both who let professional jealousy get in the way, and they'd rather steal content from someone like me. I'm not the only one who this has happened to, who has over 12 years of experience working in and around publishing, than to put in the time to learn and perfect their skills first. However, I'm no gatekeeper either. That's why I often collaborate and join forces with other industry experts so we can together teach, guide, and support authors on their journeys. Now, I know she posted this 2 years ago, but somehow she managed to get 8 years of experience in only 2, because as we all know, she has 20 years of experience. Or so she claims. If any editor or coach in this biz is interested in putting our heads together and putting out content or a project that benefits authors in any way, I'm always open to ideas. So much so, I even have a collab ideas infographic I'm happy to share. Contact me. But let's be adults about it, shall we? That's... wow. From now on, when I catch these sneaky, unscrupulous people trying to steal my content so they can profit off the backs of hardworking, eager authors, I'm calling them out. If you truly care about helping authors, you wouldn't want or need to sneak about stealing content simply because you don't want to take the time to actually learn or gain in the experience required to be a professional author service provider. Warning issued. Nuff said. To me, that sounds like she is getting people riled up to, like, come to her defense, and she's also at the same time saying, oh my gosh, look at all these amazing ideas I have. If you also work in this industry, if you are also like an editor or author coach, you should want to collaborate with me. That's what I'm getting from that. It doesn't, I mean, I've watched her content, and unfortunately, and I have seen that there's nothing there worth copying. Like, I've shown some clips, and it's just, it's nothing. So here is another absolutely batshit post from her. This was posted on January 2nd, 2024, and there is a picture here of a pink letterboard that says, ask me anything, only $9.97, link in bio. Authors, ever wanted to ask me a question or get my help through one specific issue you're struggling with, but you're not quite ready or able to invest in my coaching program? Well, I went and did a thing. Now, if you go to the link in any of my social media profiles, you'll see a list of links, including one that says, ask me anything. If you click on it, you can ask me any question or tell me any struggle you have, and I'll record a video response just for you in less than 24 hours, and for only $9.97. I'm very curious about why $9.97? Like, what? Also, it's funny that she's so busy with all of her clients, but she can get this exclusive just for you video for $9.97 in less than 24 hours. Let me help you out of your current jam, help you get unstuck, or answer that question that's been niggling in the back of your lizard brain forever. Rude. And if you can't find the link in bio here or on my Book Boss official Facebook page, I'll drop it in the first comment below. XO Christina Kaye. And then she links the store, and yes, that is the only comment on that post. There's no way anyone did this, but hey. If anyone wants to ask me one single question for $9.97, I'm game. Hell, I'll even lower it to $9.96. What an actual fuck is her deal? So this next post might be my favorite, and that to me means most hilarious and embarrassing for her in the whole bunch. She posted this in December 2024 in her Write Grow Launch indie author support group. Confession time, and if you read, I'll make this worth your time, promise. I suck at budgeting. There, I said it. Although I have over 15 years of experience in this industry, coaching indie authors and helping them successfully launch their books and careers, I only launched my full-time business in January 2020. So I know you guys are tired of me saying this, but it seems that since December 2024 and June 2025, she's managed to find 5 years of experience. So that's interesting. She really just needs to be consistent, because I wouldn't even question it if she wasn't telling on herself. And while despite the ups and downs, my business has grown a bit every year, one thing has been consistently true is that December sucks. Never once in 5 years have I signed a client during the last few weeks of the year. And I get it, I totally do. It's hard for most people to scrounge up the funds to invest in expert services, even those like mine, which are more affordable than most and come with several payment plan options. But asking folks to do it at the same time they're prepping for Christmas, that's a big ask. Here's the thing though. Imagine if, at your job, you still had to show up every day in December and work, but your employer had a strict no payroll policy for that month each year. That is the dumbest comparison. That is not even, those are not the same thing at all. And lots of people are small business owners and manage to still make sure that they get paid in December. Anyways, that's exactly what it's like for small business owners and coaches like me, and boy does it suck. The worst part of it all is that this year has been the best year as far as growth, incoming leads, and booked clients. So I made the stupid mistake of resting on my laurels, assuming I would be fine if no new clients booked in December again this year. That's where my lack of budget skills and ADHD merged together to bite me in the ass. I should have squirreled away funds so that I wasn't in a dead panic this week, but I didn't. And so here I am, just a girl, standing in front of 3K of my closest author friends, asking them to help me make it through winter. No, how has she been a small business owner for 5 years, never signed a client in December, and yet this somehow came as a surprise to her? And on top of that, she's decided to make it everyone else's problem and guilting her followers into it. Cool. But you know me, I've never taken out a loan, asked for investments, or begged for clients, and I'm not starting now. So I decided to offer you something I've never offered before, so that hopefully I can book one more client to bridge the dead December gap, and you can get the help and guidance and support you truly need at a fraction of the price. Like, is she really gonna, lose her house, get evicted? I don't know if she doesn't sign this one client, because that is so concerning about how she A, runs a business, and B, isn't she got employees? What? See the graphic below for details, and if you're interested in hearing how I can and will help you write/finish your amazing book and successfully launch it and your indie author career in just a matter of months, reach out now. Since this is the craziest, most desperate offer I've ever put out there, I can and will only take one client at this drastically reduced rate. See, I told you that if you read my rant, you'd find value and I'd make it worth your time. XO Christina Kaye. To me, that is something that you write in your diary, not something you write for the public to read, because that's so embarrassing for her. P.S. If you're simply not ready or not interested in my help, but you know an indie author, coach, speaker, or other entrepreneur who would be interested in this offer, when did she become an expert on all those topics that she, is able to give advice and guidance on? Okay. Please share this with them and or tag them below, and at least help this post not go invisible like my others by hitting all the buttons. Your post doesn't go invisible. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about what you're saying, so nobody engages with it, so then it's not shown. That's not going invisible. And this is what her little graphic says. 40% off author coaching. Help me book one more client for 2024 this week, and in exchange, I'll guarantee your book launch is a raging success. Open to all indie authors, no matter where you are in the process. The earlier, the better. You'll get everything you need to write/finish and launch your book successfully. Coaching, editing, cover design, website, and even a dedicated author PA to help. Even at 40% off, my coaching fee is always backed by a money-back guarantee, and I offer several flexible payment plan options. Fill out the short form, use the code December40, and set your first free session now by visiting booklaunchfairy.com. There is also a photo of her, like, literally with her bottom lip stuck out and her, like, hands in, like, a begging thing. So, yeah, no, she looks ridiculous, and she is definitely begging. So, additionally, this graphic brings up a lot of questions and comments. So, number one, 40% off is an insane discount for anyone with as much experience as she claims to have. And I've talked about this in the first video, but if she's as good at what she does as she says she is, why is she literally begging for clients? Like, literally, look at this picture. Why is she begging? Number two, she absolutely cannot and should not be guaranteeing book launch success. That is what we call a false claim, and this is straight from the FTC. Satisfaction guarantees and similar representations in advertising, disclosure in advertising that mentions satisfaction guarantees or similar representations. A seller or manufacturer should use the term satisfaction guarantee, money-back guarantee, free trial offer, or similar representations in advertising, only if the seller or manufacturer, as the case may be, refunds the full purchase price of the advertised project at the purchaser's request. As we know, that is the furthest thing from what Christina Kaye does. She berates you and tells you that you're a liar and, like, literally comes and attacks you. And B, an advertisement that mentions a satisfaction guarantee or similar representation should disclose with such clarity and prominence as will be noticed and understood by prospective purchasers any material limitations or conditions that apply to the satisfaction guarantee or similar representation. They do list some examples, and I will link the website down below for your reference if you want to look up more about that. Number three, she says that she's open to all indie authors and that the earlier in the process, the better. Yet she dumped our sweet friend Nanette up there because she said Nanette wasn't a good enough writer. But apparently, when she's desperate for cash, anyone will do. So the last post that I have to show you is one she posted only a little over a week ago on June 7th. And also, I really try to focus only on the subject at hand, but I have to comment on the aesthetic of this 40-something-year-old woman whose office looks like my childhood bedroom did until I turned 10 and grew out of it. Like, what is happening here? It's pink, it's fluffy, and listen, I'm here for, an aesthetic, but this is not professional adult aesthetic. So here's what she said. I made a boo-boo, but I fixed it. 2 days ago, I announced the launch of my new online course, The Successful Book Launch Blueprint, but I found out yesterday late in the day that my settings were off, and so Lord only knows how many people clicked on the link to check it out only to find it was still in test mode. Girl, nobody clicked on the link. You're fine. You are A-okay. Yeesh, so embarrassing. But it's fixed now. I've confirmed it 1,000%. So if you're an indie author and you want help growing your reader fan base and successfully launching your book, but you don't have it in your budget to work with me one-on-one, this course is exactly what you need. I've poured all my best tips, tricks, and strategies into an 8-step online course that will help you exactly the same way I've helped hundreds of authors successfully launch their books. I'll put the link in the first comment below. Please check it out because today is the last day of my early bird sale, even though it's only been up for a day? Okay. Meaning, instead of the already affordable registration fee of $300 for everything you learn and get with this course, including my best digital templates and resources, you pay only $150. That's insane, I know, but I wanted to kick this launch off with a bang. And then I went and made a big mistake, so help me get things on track, will ya? If you're not interested in an online course that will teach you everything from social media to email marketing to building your website and launching and every damn thing in between, at least please share this post with your indie author friends. She's had 3 people like that post and no comments. And I am here to humbly ask that you please do not share that post with your indie author friends. Instead, share one of my videos on the subject or anyone else's to bring awareness to this reprehensible excuse for an author coach. So I hope that both of these videos have helped bring to light some of the vile behavior of Christina Kaye, and I so appreciate everyone who has reached out to thank me for making it. I honestly started making these videos for fun, and the fact that I've received messages thanking me really took me by surprise because I'm not an author, indie or otherwise, but I feel so connected to this community now, and I want to do what I can to help people keep their hard-earned money away from people like her. She is not a good person. She is not someone to trust. And I really hope that if any of this sounds like someone you've encountered, please get away from them. They are not there to help you. So, thank you so much for watching. I do have a Google form if you have an idea for a subject you'd like me to cover. I also have a Patreon you can join, link below, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more like this, make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one.